Hi guys, I'm Nature. Thank you for your great interest in the Fireball build. I found it is very big experience to be able to share my experience with you and listen to your opinions while enjoying Diablo 4. It is very unfortunate situation for the sorcerer now. If you get hit by a monster, you die easily and the skill set we use is too limited. Still, in this situation, where Ice Shard is a meta build, I found out a possibility with the fire skill and made this build. There is something I wanna let you know before the guide. This video is the same setup that I cleared 100 tier Nightmare dungeon and is not perfect yet. In addition, it doesn't mean this build is strong. I'd like to remind you that I intend to show other possibilities than Cold Sorcerer. In the game talk about build diversity many times, I think that iShard is a meta and other frames or writing builds are not being used like this. Obviously it means that Blizzard has failed in balancing. I hope this problem will be solved in the upcoming season. And it is said that Hydra has a bug that rides along the monster level of the map. Only Blizzard knows if it is a bug or not, but they will have to fix the various bugs that exist now quickly. I'll start the guide. I will explain it largely by dividing into the four parts: mechanism, skill, item and aspect, and Paragon Board. Please feel free to let me know if there is anything wrong. Using the gloves of the Illuminator, the fireball bounces like Mario's fireball. At this time, the fireball projectiles does not disappear against the wall or other places, and has penetration to objects. Therefore, it becomes possible to hit more monsters several times than to hit once using a fireball. Due to enhanced fireball, it is another benefit increasing the hit area as the distance increases because it can hit more monsters. Enchanting Frostbolt applies chills to direct damage. At this time, if you use the aspects of the umbrella, whenever an enemy is hit by the fireball, you will give chills and your mana is recovered. So it can solve the problem of lack of mana and when dealing with many monsters. And you can stun monsters and put them into immobility by using the gloves of the Illuminator and Crippling Flames respectively. So mana is restored whenever you give CCs to monsters. In addition, status anomalies such as stun, immobility, and freezing caused by accumulation of chills are related to the increased damage of the aspect of control described later. As mentioned earlier, if monsters are hit multiple times, you can benefit from direct damage of 10% of the burning damage by the Great Fireball. The more burning damage you give, the more damage you can do. So this build invests heavily in burning damage. First of all, Frostbolt and Firebolt are used for enchanting. As I explained, Frostbolt is used to give chill and freezing, and Firebolt is used to inflict burning damage. At low tier Nightmare dungeon, the burning damage obtained through enchanting is enough to use a fireball, but when you go to a high tier Nightmare dungeon, the burning damage is so small that the burning damage of Hydra becomes more and more important. Thus, the Hydra will deal burning damage and Fireball will do additional damage. If you can recover enough mana without enchanting Frostbolt, you can use an element that can give chills or other crowd control effect instead of Frostbolt. For example, you can enchant Ice Orb to take advantage of vulnerable damage including chills and freeze, although they are probabilistic. I gave 1 point to Frostbolt for enchantment and 5 points to Firebolt to increase burning damage. You can also use the flickering firebolt to restore mana in battle, or you use glinting firebolt to deal more burning damage to monsters gathered in one place through the Inferno. Fireball was given 5 points. In fact, hitting damage is very helpful at low tier Nightmare Dungeon, but at the high tier Nightmare Dungeons, the proportion of damage is considerably smaller. Therefore, there were cases where the fireball points were subtracted and invested elsewhere. Whenever the fireball hit an enemy with the greater fireball, it deals 10% of burning damage as direct damage. As defense skill, I use one teleport for mobility. You see, teleport can get you out of crowd control. I use one frame shield. It is immune for a while, so you can use it in various battles. I use 1 point for elemental attunement. Since I don't use Frost Nova in this build, it doesn't take a cooldown reduction option from gears. However, since only 2 defense skills are used, if the frame shield is on cooldown, you can easily create a situation where you can use one more frame shield while skipping the cooldown through elemental attunement. Hydra is the key to burning damage. Burning damage can be inflicted by using the summoned Hydra. I use the mana shield to reduce damage. In master skills, passive nodes are used. The inner frames and the crippling frames are essential. Devouring Rage is a node that has nothing to do with burning damage, so you don't have to use it. It is a node that increases the maximum damage of hitting damage, and it is good to subtract this node and use it for the lucky hit or glass cannon. When using Inferno, the mana of the fireball is not consumed, so it can be used to instantly give high damage. And use all the fire passive nodes in the ultimate skills. In particular, Warmth is often a great help in recovering HP in situations where monsters are crowded. Lastly, I use Convulsions as a key passive node to increase burning damage. In addition, Horror Process is adapted to increase damage to shield or frozen enemies. I would like to introduce the gears. First of all, looking at the helmet, I use Intelligence, Maximum Mana, Hydra Ranks, and Maximum Life. Instead of life, total armor is also meaningful. Damage reduction is obtained from the Might aspect. In all armor, Intelligence is essential, which is to increase burning damage in Paragon Board. Armor and pants provide options to reduce damage for close, distant, and burning enemies. I want to take advantage of the total armor option, but it is not easy to get them. Intelligence is also used here. As defensive aspects, I use the aspect of ever living and aspect of disobedience. For gloves, I use the gloves of Eliminator. It is good to use movement speed and mana cost reduction for boots, and to have a fire shield rank. I use shield misery aspect. It is effective at spreading CCs. It is good to have an amulet that uses movement speed and mana cost reduction and has damage increase options or endless fire skill rank. I'm also take damage reduction option and am reducing the damage now. I use the aspect of control here to increase damage a lot. The ring took options such as DOT, critical damage, fire damage, and maximum life. As for the aspect, the number of Hydra summons has increased to 2 with the aspect of the Serpentine, and mana is recovered during battle through the aspect of Umbrella. For weapon, I use options such as DOT, critical damage, and intelligence. Accelerating aspect is used to increase attack speed. At the focus, I use the aspect of smiting to lengthen the crowd control duration of the enemies. It's good to have options such as damage reduction from burning enemy, mana cost reduction, or recovering primary resource with lucky hits. I also used the Staff of Endless Rage, but it has slow attack speed and low damage, but it fires a lot of fireballs, so I use it occasionally when going through low tier nightmare dungeons. I use 6 glyphs and 2 legendary nodes on Paragon Board. Something can be changed depending on the situation. On the first starting board, I use Conjurer to increase high duress damage. You can also use the Enchanter instead of the Conjurer. The second board is the Burning Instinct. I took this legendary node, and because of this node, intelligence and critical damage are very meaningful. This is important because critical damage increases the burning damage even more. Control Glyph is used to increase damage to crowd controlled enemies. The third board is Shearing Hit. As for the glyph, I used Pyromaniac, and I only took 25 willpower to secure the additional bonus. Additional critical damage bonus was taken more here. The fourth board is Elemental Summoner. I used the Torch Glyph to increase fire damage over time. I took 54 willpower and maximized the efficiency of the glyph. In addition, the Hydra's damage was also increased through the Conjurer Layer node. The next board is Static Surge. Maximum mana is secured on the way through, and I raise damage to burning enemies through the Feeder Glyph. 44 Dexterity also took 4 damage. The last board is the Enchantment Monster. I took this legendary node and raised the burning damage of the firebolt that works for enchantment. And the Imbiber Glyph is used here, but this glyph can be replaced with the Frostbite because it can do more damage. I introduced this build here, and if you want to try it for the rest of pre-season, it would be nice to refer to this guide. Sorcerer have many problems such as balance problems between skills, meaningless elemental resistance, and death due to low armor. As I am user who mainly plays Sorcerer, I hope that Blizzard will and let's try to solve these problems. I will end this video here, looking forward to the upcoming season. Thank you for watching.